Hello again. And we're back for week 6.3, boys and girls. It is going by super fast. So this week for math, our learning objective is I can skip count using coins. I can solve addition and subtraction word problems. I can use non-standard units to measure length with no gaps and overlays. And I can count by 2s, 5s, and 10s. So if you're wondering what this one means, I can use non-standard units to measure lengths. That means that you're using things like on our pictures to measure things. We use the paper clips and the cubes on your worksheets. So that's a non-standard unit. That means you're not using a ruler. We're just using objects to measure the length with no gaps and overlays, because remember they have to be side by side to measure the length of an object. Okay, so remember to click on these videos that they offer here because they're good reviews on counting coins, adding, measuring, graphs that we do every week, subtraction, balancing equations, and skip counting by twos. So these are some videos that you can click on and watch. Some of them are YouTube videos, so I think they all are. And those are going to help you with the lessons. Okay, so your first sheet are your target questions. And this time we're looking at a pond with frogs and turtles. So all your questions are going to be based on this picture here. You've got 7 frogs in a pond, 3 frogs in the grass, 9 turtles in the pond, and 2 turtles in the grass. So keep referring back to this picture here to help you answer the questions for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Monday it's asking, what's the total number of frogs in the story? So how are you going to get the answer? Are you going to add or subtract? Tuesday, how many fewer frogs are in the grass than in the pond? So you're going to come up here and make sure you're looking at the frogs only. How many fewer frogs are in the grass than in the pond? So you have 3 frogs in the grass and 7 frogs in the pond. So how are you going to figure out how many fewer frogs are in the grass? Because we know fewer means less, right? So we have less frogs that are in the grass than are in the pond. So they're asking just how many less are there in the grass than in the pond. Okay, so you're going to use these two numbers here, 7 and 3. What is the total number of turtles in the story? So it's asking for total number of turtles. Make sure you're looking at just the number for the turtles. How many more turtles are in the pond than in the grass? So that's kind of like our Tuesday question, but instead of fewer, it's asking how many more. Because let's see over here, we have 9 turtles in the pond and 2 turtles in the grass. So how many more turtles are in the grass than in the pond? Are in the pond than in the grass. Whoops, I said that backwards. There's more turtles in the pond than in the grass. So it's asking how many more are there? So remember to be careful and only use the numbers for the turtles on Thursday's question. 4 turtles from the pond left to the grass. So now how many turtles are left in the pond? And how many turtles are now in the grass? So come over here and remember to start with the turtles that are in the pond. So you had 9 turtles in the pond, and 4 of them got out of the water and walked over here to the grass, and now they're sitting in the grass with the other turtles. So how many turtles are left in the pond? If you had 9 in there and 4 of them crawled up on the grass. So it's asking you, now how many turtles are left in the pond? And how many turtles are now on the grass? So don't forget when you're looking at the turtles that went on the grass, you have 4 that left the pond, and you had 2 that were already there. So this is like 2 questions in one problem. Remember to be super careful about reading whether you're looking at the number for turtles or frogs. You don't want to get those numbers confused. I saw a couple of you do that with the last problems or last week's problems. Then we come down to our target practice. This one is red. And don't forget to match the picture with the question. So picture A goes with question A. Okay, so you're looking at these shapes here. And the question is, which one does not belong? So look at all the shapes carefully. Which one doesn't belong? One of them has something different. So look at all the shapes and which one has something different that the other ones don't have. That's going to be the one that doesn't belong, and you write the name of that shape right here, or on your answer sheet, or on your sheet of paper. Then we go to B. Fill in the blanks. You have 2 blanks after 3 numbers. Your number's 90, 92, 94. This is counting by 2s, so you've got to complete it. Give me the next 2 numbers. C is this picture right here. And the question is, write the sum. And remember, sum means what is the answer of an addition problem? Well, if you look over here, you're adding these rods. There's your addition mark right there, your addition symbol, to these units. So remember, you count your rods by what? By tens, that's right. So make sure you count your rods by tens, and then add your units, which we count by ones. So remember to count on. Once you're done counting your rods by tens, count on by ones. And that will be your answer for C. Then it's asking you, how many groups of tens do you have and how many groups of ones? Well, which ones are your tens? That's right, the rods. So how many rods do you have? I'm just going to go right here because those are our groups of tens. And our units are going to be our ones. D. So if you notice, this picture has D and E. So this picture is going to be used to answer both D and E. So the first question, what's the total number of student choices? It tells you right here, every happy face is 1 student choice. So how do we find out how many student choices we have? How would you find out if each student's choice is a happy face? How are you going to figure out how many student choices there were? You're going to count. That's right. Make sure you count slowly how many student choices. Count all your happy faces. And that's going to be your answer for D. E is asking, which one has more? Which one did they vote for more? The lollipop or the chocolate? And you'll write that answer right here. How many more? So you're going to see how many kiddos picked lollipop and how many kiddos picked chocolate. Okay? And then you're going to decide how many more kiddos picked chocolate than lollipop. And that'll be your answer here. Now here, write another question. You're supposed to write another question using your graph. Now, I was looking at it, and I myself think it's kind of hard to figure out another question to ask because the graph is pretty simple. They've already asked us to count the choices, and then they asked us to figure out which one has more and by how much. So, I don't need you to answer that one. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to just mark that one off and don't answer that. You do need to answer which one has more and how many more, but you don't need to write another question for it. We don't have to do that one. So we move on to F. You have an addition problem with 3 add-ins, but one of our add-ins is missing. So it's asking you, fill in the 10 frame with the add-ins. Now I've seen a couple of you doing this one incorrectly. So I'm going to go ahead and do a sample. Okay, it's not going to be the same one that you see here, but we're going to do one that's similar. Okay, so right here we have a problem that's like the one on our math sheet. We have 1 plus 6 plus blank equals 10. Okay, so what we're going to do is first we're going to use our 10 frame to fill in the add-ins. Now again, what is an add-in? An add-in are the numbers in our math problem. So we have 1, we have 6, and we have one that we don't know, and that's what we're going to try to figure out. But we do know that all of these together equal how much? 10. And we have our 10 frame. How many squares in a 10 frame? 10, right? That's why it's called a 10 frame. So we know that when we're done with our addition problem, all of our squares are going to be filled in because we have 5, 10, 10 squares, and this addition problem equals 10. So what we do is we're going to fill in the 10 frame using our add-ins, which is exactly what it asks us to do here. Okay? So what we have to remember is that you have to use all the add-ins in the 10 frame. So which one is our first add-in? The 1. So I'm going to use different colors for each add-in. You don't have to. I'm just going to do that so you can see that we're supposed to use each add-in. You can use a different symbol like we used to in class for each add-in on the 10 frame, and I'll do that as well. So we only have 1 that's going to be in red, and we'll use an X for that one. That's our first add-in. Our second add-in is 6. So for number 6, I'm using purple, and we're going to use a different symbol. We're going to use a circle for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the last add-in is the one that's missing, but we know again that it's going to equal 10. And we know our 10 frame is 10 squares. So how many are we missing in order to fill in all of the squares? 1, 2, 3. So our missing add-in up here is 3. And make sure that you come down here and you also fill out the 10 frame with the missing add-in 3. So for the 3, we're just going to color it in. 1, 2, and 3. And then on the bottom, it asks us to complete the equation. So once you filled in your 10 frame and you know what your missing add-in is, then you're going to write your equation down there. And our equation here ends up being 1, oops, my marker's not working, plus 6 plus our missing add-in that we figured out was 3, and then equals 10. So we're just rewriting our equation just like it was on top, except now with our missing add-in included. Okay? So very easy. That is what you're going to do with this one. Fill in the 10 frame with the missing add-in, and this is the problem you're using for that. Okay? Now we're going to go ahead and look over at the other side, which is color pink. And you have A, which is a subtraction problem. It's just backwards, but it's okay. You have to figure out what 15 take away 7 is. Write your answer here. And then it's asking, use the equation in a story problem. So now that after you figure out your answer, you can write a simple equation for that. A simple story problem, sorry. I had 15 lollipops, I ate 7, now I have how many? That's an example. And then on B, you're balancing equations because you have an addition problem on this side that has to equal the same as the addition problem on this side. So make sure you find out first how much 6 plus 6 is, and I would write it on top over here. And now you're going to have to make sure that this problem over here equals the same as 6 plus 6. And then you're just going to copy and fill in the missing one. So you're going to write the whole thing. You have to write 8 plus, and the missing add-in that you found equals 6 plus 6. So both addition problems should equal the same. And then you have your coins. Make sure you skip count. Okay, so you've got your dimes, which you count by what? Tens. Your nickel, which you count by fives. And your pennies, which you count by ones. So don't forget to count on. So after you're done counting by tens, count on. Don't start over at 5. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and help you with this one so we can practice. 10, 20, 30, 35, 36, 37. Okay, counting on, but you have to count on based on how much the value is for each coin. And then you have D and E, which is the same thing you've been practicing. You're measuring this object with cubes or squares and paper clips. How long is the nail? Blank. And then right here, you write down what unit you used. So how many paper clips or how many squares? And why is the measurement different? Everybody's been answering that question on your past sheet, so it's the same one. And again, you can use your answer sheet that you print out or just a regular sheet of paper. That is perfectly fine with me, either way. Okay, remember to dojo me or give me a call if you have any questions. Okay, see you later, boys and girls.